You might think moving a sacred box sounds simple, right? But what if I told you the way the Ark of the Covenant was brought to Jerusalem is packed with lessons about obedience, preparation, and joy, lessons that still shake us today? Many rush through their spiritual lives like David's first failed attempt, missing God's exact plan. This story flips that on its head, showing how real reverence and heartfelt worship unlock power. If you're ready to discover why joy in worship beats perfection every time, you're in the right place. Then, let's read the chapter together. After David had constructed buildings for himself in the city of David, he prepared a place for the Ark of God and pitched a tent for it. Then David said, "No one but the Levites may carry the Ark of God, because the Lord chose them to carry the Ark of the Lord and to minister before him forever." David assembled all Israel in Jerusalem to bring up the Ark of the Lord to the place he had prepared for it. He called together the descendants of Aaron and the Levites. From the descendants of Kohath, Uriel the leader and 120 relatives. From the descendants of Merari, Asaiah the leader and 220 relatives. From the descendants of Gershon, Joel the leader and 130 relatives. From the descendants of Elizaphan, Shemaiah the leader and 200 relatives. From the descendants of Hebron, Eliel the leader and 80 relatives. From the descendants of Uzziel, Amminadab the leader and 112 relatives. Then David summoned Zadok and Abiathar the priests, and Uriel, Asaiah, Joel, Shemaiah, Eliel, and Amminadab the Levites. He said to them, "You are the heads of the Levitical families. You and your fellow Levites are to consecrate yourselves and bring up the Ark of the Lord, the God of Israel, to the place I have prepared for it." It was because you, the Levites, did not bring it up the first time that the Lord our God broke out in anger against us. We did not inquire of him about how to do it in the prescribed way. So the priests and Levites consecrated themselves in order to bring up the Ark of the Lord, the God of Israel. And the Levites carried the Ark of God with the poles on their shoulders, as Moses had commanded in accordance with the word of the Lord. David told the leaders of the Levites to appoint their fellow Levites as musicians to make a joyful sound with musical instruments, lyres, harps, and cymbals. So the Levites appointed Heman son of Joel, from his relatives, Asaph son of Berechiah, and from their relatives the Merarites, Ethan son of Kishiah, and with them their relatives next in rank, Zechariah, Jaziel, Shemiramoth, Jeiel, Uni, Eliab, Benaiah, Maaseiah, Mattithiah, Eliphelahu, Micniah, Obed-Edom, and Jeiel, the gatekeepers. The musicians Heman, Asaph, and Ethan were to sound the bronze cymbals. Zechariah, Jaziel, Shemiramoth, Jeiel, Uni, Eliab, Maaseiah, and Benaiah were to play the lyres according to Alamoth, and Mattithiah, Eliphelahu, Micniah, Obed-Edom, Jeiel, and Azaziah were to play the harps, directing according to Sheminith. Kenaniah the head Levite was in charge of the singing. That was his responsibility because he was skillful at it. Berechiah and Elkanah were to be doorkeepers for the ark. Shebaniah, Joshaphat, Nethanel, Amasai, Zechariah, Benaiah, and Eleazar the priests were to blow trumpets before the ark of God. Obed-Edom and Jehiah were also to be doorkeepers for the ark. So David and the elders of Israel and the commanders of units of 1,000 went to bring up the ark of the covenant of the Lord from the house of Obed-Edom, with rejoicing. Because God had helped the Levites who were carrying the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord, 7 bulls and 7 rams were sacrificed. Now David was clothed in a robe of fine linen, as were all the Levites who were carrying the ark, and as were the musicians, and Kenaniah, who was in charge of the singing of the choirs. David also wore a linen ephod. So all Israel brought up the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord with shouts, with the sounding of ram's horns and trumpets, and of cymbals, and the playing of lyres and harps. As the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord was entering the city of David, Michal daughter of Saul watched from a window. And when she saw King David dancing and celebrating, she despised him in her heart. Let's say a quick prayer to thank the Lord for his mercy. Hey God, thanks so much for the wisdom you've given me through this study. I'm really grateful for how you show me the importance of preparing my heart and worshiping with joy. Please help me live out these lessons every day. Remind me to slow down, sanctify myself, and celebrate you even when things get tough. I want to carry your presence in everything I do. Help me stay faithful and full of gratitude. Amen. Now that you've read and explored the story of the ark being brought to Jerusalem, ask yourself, how are you preparing your heart for the big moments in life? Are you sanctifying your mind and spirit before stepping into your challenges, or rushing and half-prepared? What would happen if you embraced joy and thanksgiving like David, even when others don't understand you? Imagine how your life and your faith could transform by applying these timeless lessons from 1 Chronicles 15. If you're ready to dive deeper and keep growing, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next powerful insight. Your journey to carrying God's glory starts now. And, as always, don't forget to check the last video and learn more about the scriptures.